What's up, everybody, and welcome to today's lecture. If you're here in class, I'm excited to have you. If you are watching this online, today we're talking about soft skills, and it should be a good, fun lecture. So let's do this. All right. So this is a Prezi presentation, and I will leave the link down below the description. I didn't write this presentation. Obviously, it's by Julia Marrero. But it's there, so we're going to use it. All right, so soft skills in the workplace and the definition of soft skills. That's essentially what we're going to talk about. If you're here in this class, you're probably here because you want to become a better person or a better employee at your work, right? Or you want to help, you need help finding a job, you need help growing your skills so that you can get a better position. Yes? Okay, great. So there are two sets of skills that you need when you do when you are an employee. One of them is called a soft skill, and one of them is called a hard skill. Okay, hard skills are things like certifications or degrees. For example, if you want to be a doctor, you need to have gone to medical school, of course. If you want to become a doctor, you need to have gone to medical school. Yeah? Everyone agrees on that? That's a hard skill. If you want to be a welder, you need a welding certification, or you need the skills to be able to weld. Yes? Those are hard skills. Soft skills are the way in which we deal with each other. So not everyone that has a hard skill is qualified or should be in a leadership position, and not everyone who has a hard skill should also be in a place of should be the greatest employee in the world, right? There needs to be something else. So for example, if you guys remember the 2008 how the market crashed, yeah, so the market crashed even though in banks there were people that are very competent, very smart. But what was wrong with them? Were they good people? Not everyone, right? So we ended up with a market crashing. That's because the hard skills were there, but the soft skills weren't necessarily there. Make sense? Yeah? So what we need to develop for you guys as well is figure out what hard skills you need to get a job and what soft skills will get you to advance in a job. Okay? So this is in essence the essence of what we're talking about today. All right. So what are soft skills? Soft skills are combinations of people skills, social skills, communication skills, characters of personality traits, attitude, career attributes, social intelligence, and emotional intelligence. And these are the things that enable employees to navigate their work environment, work well together, perform well, and achieve their goals with complementing hard skills. So in essence is the way you behave at work. It's the way you communicate with others, it's the way you deal with them, it's the way you carry out your personality traits, because not every trait that you have is hard set. A lot of these skills are things that you can learn. And even if you think, oh, well, this is not me, there's nothing that you cannot learn. Some things are acquired. Some people are more talented at things, but if you practice something, you become better at it. With a show of hand, how many of you are artists? We have one artist in the classroom. Great. Two artists in the classroom. Three. Awesome. Okay. You maybe have been born with this talent, right? But did you ever take an art class? Yes, we have some people who took art classes, and it probably made you a better or more refined artist, right? So exactly. So it shows you different depth of shadow, different things or different skills that you can use within your talent. However, if everyone here took an art class today, you may not end up being the greatest artist in the world or the best artist, but you will know more than what you started, right? So even the skills that you don't think you're born with, you can learn and acquire, even if you don't become the best person at that skill. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Go for it.
What would be your suggestion if basically what I was asking is what skill should you focus on? The one you're best at?
Sometimes, yes. So it depends on the skill set that you're trying to do, or it depends on the skill set that you're trying to use and where you're trying to use it. So in terms of the soft skills, growing all of them would probably be a good idea. Yes. But let's say you are really good at sales. It would probably not be in your best interest to focus all your energy on learning finance. You can learn finance, it will be good for you, but let's say you're starting a business, you would find a partner that knows more about finance or is skilled that way, and you can have complementary skill sets. Yeah? So, but in terms of soft skills and the way we interact with people, one thing that you do have to keep in mind is that growing all these things actually helps you grow as a person. Does that make sense? Yeah? Did I answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about these skills in a second. So again, these are social skills, these are communicative skills, these are career attributes, and so forth. Some of the things that we have on here are things like attitude, work ethics, communication, teamwork, empathy, networking, problem solving, quality, leadership qualities, conflict resolution, and time management. So these are the categories that we have. And if you really look at them, you can kind of group them into 4 or 5 categories. So a few of them can go into other things, but we are going to break these particular skill sets down. So what we want to do is we want to grow in these skills. So maybe you're looking at these bubbles right now and you're thinking, okay, well, I can change a little bit of my attitude, okay? Or I need help with leadership skills, with problem solving, or whatever the case is. If you have that and you know, like, this is something I need to work on, that's something that you can focus on. So that's one thing that you're like, okay, for the next 3 to 6 weeks, I'm going to implement whatever I can implement to make sure my attitude changes. Okay? Does that make sense? Yeah? And then once that's done, and once you feel like you've mastered that skill, then you can move on to another one. So don't try to tackle all of them at the same time. What ends up happening more often than not, when we try to tackle everything at once, we end up dropping all the balls, right? If you're trying to juggle too many things, you end up dropping all of them. So what it is that you need to do, or that what I would recommend, is that find one of these and focus on that. Now, of course, for our purposes in this class, we are going to go through all of them, okay? And then we'll talk more. Cool? So let's start with attitude. Any ideas what attitude is? I mean, obviously it's up there now, but what's attitude in your own words?
I would say mood, your mood.
Okay, mood is a good one. So if you walk in grumpy to work, what happens?
Mess up the whole room.
You mess up the whole room.
Doesn't
If you are talking to your significant other and he or she is having they're really upset, they're just angry for no reason, no discernible reason, right? They're just in that not very happy mood. What happens to you? You're not so happy either, right? So our mood affects the people around us. Any other ideas of what attitude is? Can someone give me an example?
Maybe like the way you approach, like say a task at your job.
Mm-hmm.
If you approach it with confidence, you're having a good attitude towards, getting it done right. But if you are like a little bit sketchy on it, then you don't have a good attitude about it.
I love it. I love the fact that you said confidence. Confidence in the way we perceive things is actually a very important trait. I'll give you like a personal example. When I was doing my first master's, and it was in teaching, right? My first master's is in teaching English to speakers of other languages. Now, obviously, I've spoken English for the majority of my life, right? So you speak English, I speak English. Everyone in this room basically is fluent in English, right? But when it comes down to teaching English, you may not feel competent, right? Yeah? Anyone experience that? If I tell you come up here and teach me grammar, right? It would be difficult. So I was facing the same thing. Obviously, I had gone through my graduate program. I was almost towards the end, and we took one grammar course, right? Now, mind you, my entire thing is in grammar. So I took one course. I walked into my professor's office and I said, I don't know how to do this. You need to give us another course in grammar. And she looks at me and she said, if you walk into that classroom with that book, had a big grammar book in my hand, with that big grammar book in your hand, and you slam it on the desk and you begin to teach, no one will doubt your ability to do it. That is confident. Now, inside me, did I feel that way? I didn't. So inside you, you may be walking into your class or your jobs, or you may be applying for a job or walking into an interview and thinking, I am not good enough, right? Or having these self-doubts. But you walk in with confidence, and that will change the way you view something, and it will change the way whoever is around you will view what you're looking at as well. Now, that doesn't mean lie about what you can or can't do, right? But what it does mean is that acknowledge the fact that you might not be the perfect person you want to be, but still are willing to try and still are willing to problem solve, which is another skill that we're talking about later. But yes, absolutely. Confidence and the way we approach something, if we're weary of it, we may not show or present the fact that we can do this. But if we're willing to try, even if we fail, that would be a confidence that is worthwhile. And that would be an attitude that can change other people's attitudes. Anyone else wants to add anything on attitude? Okay, so for our purposes, attitude is a settled way of thinking or feeling about someone or something. Typically, it reflected in the person's behavior. So we have positive attitude translated to better performance. So we have positive attitude, negative attitude, and neutral attitude. A positive attitude would be, this is exciting, I'm feeling grateful, right? So maybe when you wake up in the morning and you're thinking about your day, you start off being grateful for the experience of waking up, right? That can set the mood for the rest of your day. Maybe during the day you get thirsty and you grab a drink of water and you are thankful or grateful for that. That is a positive attitude that will impact the rest of your day. Yeah? But let's take that same drink of water, and often most of us just drink it and without thinking, right? I keep pointing here because my bottle is right there. For anyone who's not seeing my bottle. You guys want to see my bottle? This is my bottle. I have stickers on. So also, let's move on here. Okay, so let's take that drinking of water. It's a very simple action, right? So we said that we can be grateful for that drink. What's another attitude? As the majority of us, are we grateful for the water that we drink? Not consciously, right? So would that be a negative attitude or a neutral attitude? Neutral. And then if I am just focusing on the fact that I'm thirsty and I get a drink of water and I'm still lingering on that, oh my gosh, I was so thirsty kind of situation, is that a positive attitude or a negative attitude? It's probably a negative one, right? So this is probably like a silly example, but think of it on a more skill-based level, right? At your work, are you experiencing gratitude in the little things? Do you not care? Or do you, which is neutral, Or are you always complaining that so-and-so didn't do their job, so-and-so didn't do this, right? And what can you change? So that is what attitude is and what we can work on. So if you feel that the majority of your day you're just stressed and you're negative and you feel this obvious negative energy around you, maybe consider starting with yourself. What can I do today to become more grateful? And what can I do at my job to feel better or to experience or to exhibit, like to share a more positive attitude? Yeah?
Yeah.
Questions? Are you guys asleep yet?
I just wanted to add something
Go for it.
that was personal for me, like you said, on attitude and perception, right? I would wake up and my attitude was, damn, I want to go back to sleep. I don't want to get up and go to work. You know what I mean?
Oof, been there, done that. Yeah.
So somewhere along the way, the perception and attitude changed to, man, I have to do this, basically, right?
Yeah.
To sustain taking care of yourself in any type of way, for the most part, you have to be working. You have to put in those actions. Can't nobody take a shower for you. You have to do it yourself. So with those examples, I changed my perception to give me a more positive attitude on, man, I have to do this. So why am I gonna do it, creating my own negative feelings on the inside? At least let me try to have a little enthusiasm, like, oh, okay, at least it's getting a check at the end of the week. Or at least I get to get up and do something instead of just sitting in the house and watching Netflix all day or something, you know? So I think, like you said, the perception on how we look at things, especially I feel if it's something that you have to do, right?
Yeah.
Is very important on your attitude, especially in the morning, especially.
I love it. Thank you for sharing. Has anyone else experienced that? Or something similar in terms of attitude? You want to share something, Chris?
When I'm looking at the first thing, it says it's a settled way of thinking, but we're talking about changing your perception. So how is it settled if you're changing a perception when you're actually feeling the negativity at the beginning?
So the settled
afterwards, right?
Yeah, so the whole point is kind of to get it settled as
In a good way.
yeah, as a way of thinking. So right now you may have a negative attitude towards life. You may have a negative attitude towards your job. You may have a negative attitude towards your peers. How can we change that? And really, the effect of changing something like this is so important because it's not something that you notice. Like, for example, let's say you start working out today, okay? You stare at yourself in the mirror, you will not notice a change. But let's say you stayed consistent working out 3 times a week for the next 10 weeks. In 10 weeks, when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's going to seem different. You are going to seem different, even though throughout the days, you don't see or notice the change. Attitude in mind as well is very similar to that physical change that you go through when you are working out. Does that make sense? So then it becomes settled. Then it becomes a habit. Then it becomes a choice because your attitude is also a choice. And sometimes at some points we just can't control it and we're like, that's a mad, right? But if we practice controlling it on good days, then bad days are going to come and we're better able to maneuver that, right? How many of you can run a marathon today? I cannot, okay? I cannot. We have one raised hand. Why can you run a marathon today? Because you're prepared for it, because he's been training, right? If you are training every day and a marathon comes up, then you can run it. If you haven't been training every day or periodically, a marathon's going to come up and you're going to collapse a mile into it if you're me, okay? Hopefully I can last more than a mile, but that's a different story. So same thing with attitude, same things with these soft skills that we have. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Any other question on attitude? No? All right. All right, work ethics. Oof. Okay, work ethic is ability to follow through on your tasks and duties in a timely, quality manner. A strong work, sorry, come on. A strong work ethic will help ensure you develop a positive relationship with your employer and colleague, even when you're still developing technical skills at a new job. Many employers would rather work with someone who has a strong work ethic and eager to learn than a skilled worker who seems unmotivated. So in essence, what we want to really accomplish was with work ethics is being able to deliver on your word. And if you can't, talk to your boss and say, hey, this is coming up. I don't know what to do. And hopefully they will help you solve it. The other aspect of it is really, again, if your boss is not there, doesn't mean you slack off, right? Because does anyone here like to be micromanaged? Meaning have someone standing right on top of your head all the time? Yeah, right? Anyone been there? Yeah? It's really annoying, huh? So we need to develop a trust with that employer to be able for them to.
That happens when usually you're not doing your job.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it happens when they are not great leaders as well. So it works both ways. It's not always your fault.
Yeah, most of the time it is.
Sometimes you run into terrible bosses. I've been there. I know I was doing my job and they were just unfortunate. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's not you, but if you know that, then you get out of that situation. And always, always feel or think of whatever opportunity you have as you have a chance to say no. Because if we hang on to opportunities as if they're our last line of hope, sometimes they are, okay? But if we hang on to things and unable to negotiate, then we start behaving in a way that is not good for ourselves, right?
Quick question, right? Not to interrupt.
No, go for it.
It's a little off
Go
subject,
for it.
right? But it's happened with me somewhat recently. Having somewhat of that negative relationship with your boss, right? I pretty much lost that job. You know what I mean? Because at that point, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, basically, like you're saying, man, stop hanging over my shoulder. You know, I'm doing what I'm supposed to, and you might even want me to be doing more than I'm supposed to. Like, hold on, that's not even technically in my job title. You know what I mean? So my question to you was, what do we do in that? Because I don't know. And the first reaction is to, like you said, right now I'm coming to work negative because I really don't want to be here anyway. My boss is a jerk. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of just wondering on that work ethic, like, what am I supposed to do?
Few things that you can do. One, you can talk to that person. You can, so there's a concept. Yeah, no. Not what we're doing. All right. No. So find a time when you're not angry and when you're not mad and when you're not feeling, when you have feelings bubbling up and you're like, I really want to smack you in the face type of situation. So step away from that for a minute and schedule a time where you can come in with confidence and talk to that person when you're not emotionally charged. And communicate. Let them know I feel in a very professional manner. And we'll talk about communication in a little bit as well. But in a very professional manner, you communicate and you say, hey, I've been feeling overworked. I have a feeling that I feel that you are constantly looking over my shoulder. Is it something that I'm doing that's causing you to be hesitant? Is there something I could fix? And my thought is always put it on yourself rather than have it be accusatory. But at the same time, you keep in mind that when you do that, you will get a clarification and you can walk away. You can walk away and do something different.
If that don't work, go like to HR and talk to them. Because technically, they're not allowed to micromanage you. So if you talk to them first, and if that doesn't resolve anything, you go to HR now.
Absolutely. So that was gonna be my second thing. If that does not work out, and that's what David said, if it doesn't work out, then you approach HR and you say, hey, this is what's going on, and see what HR can do. Now, you also want to be in a positive work environment and a work culture. Everyone here, I think, has been in a place where there is a culture around them, right? Whether in a group, right? Whether you were in high school and you are a part of a clique, or you are in an experience in your life where you were forced to be with a group of people, that group of people had their own culture, right? So the way you navigated that is different. If it's a positive environment, you feel like you are growing. And if it's a negative environment, you feel constantly stressed and constantly put down. So if you find yourself in these situations, change wherever you are. If you can't change the culture, change whatever you are. Because you don't just want a job, right? I mean, you do. We want to produce income. We want to get paid. We want to have a sustainable income. So you can stay at that job for a while, and then once you find another job that you feel like this is the good fit for me, then you move on to that one. Because you have to remember, when you're applying for a job and when you're interviewing for a job, it's not just them interviewing you for a position you want. It's you interviewing them if you will fit in there. And oftentimes we walk into an interview thinking, oh, well, this is the best thing for me. I really, really want this. And we feel that pressure. Has anyone had that before? The pressure, like, I really want this because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah? So what you want to come in with that mindset, even if it's true, you want to come in with a mindset that says, I don't know where the battery is on this one.
I matter too.
Huh?
I matter too.
Yeah,
I'm bringing something to the table.
absolutely. Absolutely. You matter, and you are going to change. You are going to be in this environment for a while. So you want to make sure that it's the best environment for you. Okay. And so that also would then determine your work ethics. Cool?
Yeah.
So any questions on work ethics? I know we veered a little bit off topic. That cool guy. Come on. That's me? Oh yeah, that's me. 100%. Okay, teamwork. All right, work together. You want to be able to have the skills that will allow you to work together as a group. Now, sometimes we want to just be left alone, but that cannot be our attitude throughout the entire time working. Because as a group, we're working towards the betterment of that company, right? So in essence, here's the bottom line. Companies are hiring you, companies are hiring me because we produce a certain amount of income because of the work that we do. Yeah? They hire our colleague because our colleague produces a certain amount of income. And their bottom line, in essence, they want to make money. That's the truth. That's the truth of most businesses, right? You open a business because you want to you may want to create an impact on the world, which is amazing. But the bottom line, if you don't make money, you don't create an impact. Yeah. So you have to learn how to work with the people around you, whether you like them or dislike them. And that comes with what professionalism and professional English that you can use to communicate with others. Yeah. Because professional English looks a lot different than the English I use at home or the English I use with my friends. It is a way to communicate with boundaries, with limits, and with conscious steps to take towards that person. And because we have to remember that our colleagues, while we may be friends with them, they're not our best friend. Yeah. and we want to keep things professional, but we still want to work together as a team. So whether you're working with clients, colleagues, manager, other people, if you have an attitude that is negative, if you have an attitude that says, oh, I hate working with people, you're not going to be able to thrive in your workplaces. Cool? Yeah? Awesome. All right. Next up, we have empathy. Empathy is largely understood as the ability to understand another's pain and to consider the complexity of an issue behind another person's perspective. Being able to see another person motivate an action from their point of view is crucial to an organizational overall success. Be empathetic. You want to look at someone else and consider their feelings and consider their pain. And maybe if it's something that you don't want said to you, don't say to others, right? If it's not something that you want done to you, don't do to others. And maybe before we react as if the world revolves around me, consider that that person might be going through something. Be a little empathetic in the way we deal with people and in the way we deal with situations. Yeah? So empathy is another quality that we need to work on in general. Problem solving, incredibly important. Everyone's had some kind of a problem in their life, whether it's big or small or in the middle. True? Yes, you've experienced some kind of a problem and you felt like there's no solution and you're stuck. What was your reaction? What's your usual reaction to things when you're stuck? What do?
Leave or get angry.
Okay, leave or get angry. Frustration.
What you can do to it, what I normally do is just let it play out.
Okay.
Let it play out, stay calm, let it play out.
Stay calm and let it play out.
What?
When you're stuck in a problem,
When I'm stuck in a problem,
how would you solve it?
I just try to find ways. Make calls or something, you know.
Okay, and you're still stuck. What happens?
I mean, I don't get, I always have patience. Patience, a lot of patience.
Okay, good. Okay. What about on this side? How we doing?
I usually just walk away.
Walk away. Okay. I like those. That's awesome. A very good way of looking at problem solving is being able to look at the problem from different angles. A few things like walking away is good if you're going to come back and resolve it. So a lot of times in the heat of the problem, we are so frustrated with something that we can't actually solve it. But when we step away, come back in a day or two, it becomes easier. Sometimes we can involve someone else and say, hey, what do you think? But the person that we reach out to, they can't think the same way we do, right? Or else they're going to find the same problem. Maybe they do think similarly, but you want a different point of view. Yeah? And we don't just want a confirmation bias, which means that we don't want someone to just confirm our thought that this problem is unsolvable. We want someone that will help us think through. So you find the problem, then you analyze it. How am I looking at this problem? How have people before me looked at this problem? What tools do I have that will help me solve this problem? Okay, then you start generating ideas. What are the things that could be done? Ideas are great, but they are terrible if they are not put to action and if they're not written down. Because what happens when you have new ideas? They throw the old ideas backwards and you just can't find them anymore. Yeah? You've had great ideas and forgot them before? Yeah? I think everyone has. Okay. Writing them down, planning them, making an actual strategy to work is very important. And then you're coming to realization of the things that you're solving, and then you hopefully have success. Okay? So problem solving is another one of those really important skills. Leadership qualities. There's a ton of leadership qualities over there. So it's a skilled leader is an efficient problem solver, really, drawing on their ability to flex and change according to an individual's demand. They are decisive and ambitious. Within this, they have outstanding people skills, including the ability to influence, communicate, and delegate. So basically, if you want to be a leader, even if you're not looking for a position of leadership, sometimes it's not that you become the manager or you're the manager at this point, right? But leadership skills open up opportunities because people see that you're dedicated, you're working, you're doing what you need to do, and you have the ability to decide on things and follow through with them. Yeah? Cool? So leadership skills are incredibly important to you regardless of where you are in your life. It is not about being the boss. It's not about being in a place where, oh, everyone is looking at me. It's leading your life. It begins with you. If you want to change your life, you have to lead your own life. So you have to develop the leadership skills, and these are things that you can work out slowly. Yeah. We can't do everything at the same time, but hopefully we're able to develop one skill set at a time. Make sense? How do you guys feel about leadership? Where are we in leadership?
I like it.
You like it? Okay. What are the things that you think make you a great leader for your own life?
From my own experiences
Mhm.
and stuff. Just being able, like, if I am fully knowledgeable about a certain thing and I've got the confidence to teach it to somebody, I have no problem teaching to somebody at all because I know what I'm talking about and I'm able to communicate it to them effectively, and they're going to learn it, you know? So,
I love it. Okay, that's awesome. One thing that we also have to keep in mind in addition to that is that when you are a leader, you don't have to know everything. So if you ever do become the manager that you want to become or get that position that you want in wherever, right? If you do want to do that, remember that it's okay to say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't know. Let me find out and get back to you. And you'll hear me say that often in the class, by the way. If there's ever a chance that and it will happen, when you ask me a question and I'm not sure about it, I will stop and I would say, thank you for asking. Let me see what I can do, and then I will get back to you because at this moment, I don't know. And that is something to keep in mind across the board. Yeah? You also have to be decisive and ambitious, really. Have a reason why you're living your life. Okay? Have a purpose. That sense of purpose doesn't come from something external. It comes from within you. Why are you living your life? Why are you not wasting today? Okay? And set that as the end goal because sometimes you're going to feel motivated and sometimes you're not going to feel motivated. But the end goal drives you forward. My thing, for example, is I don't want this day to just go by as I wait for X, Y, and Z. Okay? Whatever my desired goal is, I don't want this day to go by just so that the time moves and it's empty. I want to fill this day with something that is important to me so that I can become a better version of myself every day until I get to that desired goal. Does that make sense? Even when that goal seems like something that I cannot see or I cannot experience. Cool? So you have to be ambitious. Conflict resolution. If there's a problem, you want to be able between other people, you want to be able to mediate it. Okay? You want to have the skills to connect people together so that if there's a disagreement, you can work things out between people. Okay? Conflict resolution is a method used to facilitate the resolution or disagreement. Essentially, team members work together to try and resolve the disagreement by communicating conflicting opinions or strategies and engaging in collective compromise. With the example of that conversation with the boss, maybe we can say that boss comes back and is defensive, right? Says, well, I'm not doing this or that, or blames you for something that you did if you have that conversation with them. Well, we want to be able to communicate in a way that mediates that problem so that it doesn't escalate, so that it doesn't become worse, right? A lot of us here may have a different political idea than someone else that's in the class. We may have a different political belief, but just because we have those disagreements doesn't mean we cannot work together. We can put those disagreements aside and see what kind of things we can work through. That's what they do in politics, right? You have two extremely opposing ideas, and somehow they're able to work together to find a middle ground or a solution that works for both. And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. But really, that's how a lot of times wars are stopped, right? Through conflict resolution, even though people are hating at each other and so forth. Yeah? All right, last one we have on this Prezi is time management. And again, time management is very, very important. You are only given 24 hours during the day, and really 12 hours, 12 hours to actually do something productive with. How and where and when you use that time depends on where you end up. Your tomorrow begins today. Yeah? Does that one make sense? For you to be the person you want to become tomorrow, you have to start acting today. So even in the little things, if I want to be healthier tomorrow, I need to exercise today. And we talked about time management last time when we talked about something that you focus on. There are a ton of little things that we can do that give us that hit of dopamine, like, okay, great, I accomplished something today. But if it's not that one major thing that you want to accomplish, you're going to look back at your life 3-4 weeks from now, and you're going to think, oh, I don't feel better. But if you focus on that one goal that you want to accomplish for that day and get it done by a specific time of, that particular day, then you're going to look back 4 weeks from now and think, oh, no, I did something. I feel better. I've grown. Instead of just focusing on the little things that give us 1 or 2 hits of dopamine. Does that make sense? Cool. So look at your time. Time management is a really, really, really important skill. It's something that you can really do, and it's very important to do, as tedious as it sounds, because when you look at it and you think about it, it gets overwhelming. Anyone's been there? Yeah? Anyone experienced? I see some people nodding their heads. When you look at it from that perspective, it is very daunting. But you have to remember that you can take it day by day. You can take it hour by hour, goal by goal. And you take that major goal, like if I tell you today you need to finish school, a 4-year degree, that sounds a lot. 4 years sounds a lot. But if I say in 4 or 5 weeks we'll be done with this course, that sounds a little bit easier. Yeah? So you have that one major goal, and then you can break it up into little things, and then you break it up even further on what can you do today to make it better. Yeah? Awesome, my people. So let me do this. Okay.